One of the things that I think is always missing from the conversation when we're talking about, sort of everybody agrees on sort of like the crisis of masculinity. Or boys need to man up, and we need to help our boys. And even Richard Reeves is now, I don't know, he's part of the congressional committee or whatever for the advancement of boys and men or something like that. And I read his there we go. Much better. I read his Substack quite often. I actually kind of like Richard Reeves. I think he's a good dude when it comes to his analysis. I think his solutions are all mired in this sort of touchy-feely bullshit, in very, very female-centric solutions to masculine-centric problems. So again, he's one of these guys who gets the diagnosis correct, but he gets the prescription wrong. And although I think that's kind of changing, because I just recently read a Substack that he did, and it was about male self-deletion and about young male self-deletion, like teenage boys offing themselves. And it was supposed to be about the sort of the gender specific differences. Wait, no, I'll do it. There we go. Oh, that's a little too much. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. His prescriptions are very feminine. They're feminine specific. Again, it's one of these guys who thinks that like the solutions to male problems is female therapy, like the things that would work for, or we're all the same. And again, this comes back to not acknowledging the fact that men and women are fundamentally different, and that the blank slate is horseshit. And every time I look at, like, I hate it because everybody can sort of see these problems and they understand the issues. Even like, what's her face girl here? Billy Ray Brandt. She picks out some accurate shit, right? But the solutions are either non-existent or they're based on this understanding of human nature as being primarily rooted in the blank slate. We're all the same. No, we're fucking not. And the reason why we have these issues that men are having these issues is because we still keep going back to this presumption that men and women are the same, that we're all just blank slates. And or even the girl who was criticizing the girl who wanted to be a farm girl, right? She's, oh, that's the nuclear family. Yeah. Well, that little girl who was probably, I don't know, maybe in high school or just out of high school, she starts talking, oh, that's the nuclear family, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, where did you hear that? And then the other part is like the presumption, again, if you're the way that she's trying to solve this woman's problems is saying that it's a societal problem. If somebody says, society says, I have to do this. No, it fucking doesn't, because social constructionism is bullshit and has been proven bullshit since the late 80s, really into the mid 90s, right? Evolutionary psychology has put the last nail in the coffin for social constructionism, the blank slate. Really, I'll make an argument for the ghost in the machine as well, too. Certainly emotionalism, certainly egalitarianism, certainly, like I keep saying, you knock out the legs of social constructionism, the blank slate, emotionalism and egalitarianism, and every issue, every pet issue, everything a liberal has to say, everything that comes out of fucking Destiny's mouth collapses if you take those away. And you know what? We've taken them away already. We've taken away emotionalism with empiricism, like brutal, hard, smash in your face. Empiricism versus emotionalism, gone. Egalitarianism, easy. That's just all that is just the difference between hierarchy and communitarianism. It's like which way are we going to predominantly organize society, right? Which is more effective? Which one over the course of history has been more, societally beneficial? Capitalism or socialism? I'll wait. The blank slate, already disproven by evolutionary psychology. Social constructionism, again, if you're looking at, like, especially the blank slate, but social constructionism as well. If you look at the 4 laws of genetic behaviorism, we've settled the question as to whether, to everybody's satisfaction anyways, of whether it's nature versus nurture. Nurture is downstream from nature. Gone, bye, poof. All that bullshit. Oh, we're all created equal. No, we're actually not.
Argument out the window.
Yeah. Or the idea of inherent rights. That goes out the window if there's not the blank slate. All this fucking Enlightenment era philosophy goes bye-bye when you have evolutionary psychology. You want to know why people hate evolutionary psychology? Because it challenges those fundamental beliefs that we have. Everybody's born equal. What you do from there is up to you. No, we're not. We're not blank slates. It's certainly men and women are not blank slates. We're not the fucking same. I'm not saying we should be better than one. Honestly, I think women are better at certain things and men are better at certain things as well. We're innate, evolved, natural complements to each other. And that's the thing that pisses off a lot. Like the critics of the red pill, they think that men are about male supremacism. In fact, that's one of the reasons I'm on the DHS watch list, is because they have a metric or they have some sort of measurement system for male supremacy. Well, what the fuck is that based on? I'll tell you what it's not based on. It's not based on evolutionary psychology. It's not based on the 4 laws of genetic behaviorism. It's certainly that it's based on social constructionism. It's based on the society says this. It's based on the blank slate. Because if you don't believe in the blank slate, then you have to, because it's one or the other, right? It's binary. It doesn't have to be, but that's what they believe, right? Because it's all about philosophy. It's all about their belief sets. And if your primary fundamental belief is in the blank slate, and anything that goes against that crushes anything that is an extension, an association with the blank slate. So when you remove that, you have to question everything all over again. I mentioned this when Matt Walsh went on Dr. Phil, and he was there. He's arguing with the bearded lady, right? And it's a man, who pretending to be a woman, right, with lipstick on and a beard and everything else. And you got the feminist professor there, and the simple question, what is a woman? That's all Matt asked. And they can't concretely give you an answer. And there's a reason why they won't, because if they were to do that, they would have to fundamentally reassess their own identities. If you take away the blank slate, guess what? You have to fundamentally reimagine not only your identity, but everything you believed about society, everything you believed about human nature. Poof. And people aren't ready for that. They can't handle that. It's like, remember in the Matrix movie where they run the scenario of the woman in the red dress?
Yes.
It's not the woman in the red dread, the distraction that makes that scene. It's what Morpheus says to Neo beforehand. He says, look at the people around you, doctors, lawyers, construction workers, whatever it is. These are the very minds of the people that we're trying to save, but they are so hopelessly dependent on this system, and they're so hopelessly inured by the system that they will fight you. They will kill you to protect that system, because their identities and everything that is them is dependent on that system. That's why you will never get what is a woman. You'll never get an objective answer, because they're dependent on a system that is a failure, that it's bullshit. But it has to be true to them, because if it isn't, then they have to fundamentally reassess their identity, and they have to fundamentally reassess what they actually believed in. And have they been living their lives right? And who actually who actually confronts this more often than anyone else? Guys who get zeroed out. Mm-hmm. Guys who get to the point where they're like, my wife left me. She took the dog. It's like a country song. She took the truck. She took the dog. Now I've got alimony. Now I've got this. It's like the guys who have their world changed because of trauma, because of a point of crisis, and they are forced to make a realization. And that realization is, what I've believed up to this point has been horseshit. And I need to I either erase myself or I rebuild myself in a new paradigm where I have better and more accurate information. I'm educated, everything else. That's the fun. You want to know what the red pill is? As far as like making that transition, that's what that is. It's breaking you down to the point where you have to reassess your entire existence and your entire reality. And you know who can't do that? Liberals. You know who can't do that? The bearded lady. You know who can't do that? People who are turning a buck off of regurgitating and parroting back the shit that we talk about, because they're not about it. Because if they were about it, they would lose money. Lord knows I do. I could very easily sell my ass out, no problem. I could very easily cash in I've got 20 years of fucking equity built into this brand, right? I could very easily sell my ass out right now, and I won't do that. Rollo Tomassi can't be anything other than red pill.